So this week is the 18-year anniversary of the original Spider-Man trilogy, so we're gonna take a look back at the first movie on DVD. So let's get into it. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place for those who live, talk, and buy movies. And if you feel like you fall into one of those categories, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. But anyways, so a couple days ago we had the official 18-year anniversary of the original Spider-Man movie, and like a lot of people my age, this was my first introduction to the character, and I just used to watch this movie over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I was obsessed with this movie and the sequels, and just I became a massive Spider-Man fan from this one movie alone. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to mix it up from the usual Blu-ray reviews I do on this channel and talk about the DVD release of the original movie, you know, look back on it 18 plus years later, see how it holds up, and just take a little trip down memory lane. So let's get into it. So on the front cover here, you've got Spider-Man crawling up a building. Very simplistic, but very iconic as well. That's one of the things I've always liked about the original trilogy, where the posters were nice and simple. They weren't like trying to cram every single character in there. There wasn't like 800 different light sources coming through. They weren't trying to throw a bunch of logos and stuff in there. These are just clean, simple, and very memorable parts of all of our childhoods. But before we actually talk about the bonus content stuff, let's just take a moment to reflect how really cool DVD menus used to be. You know, they were these really elaborate animated menus with things flying around and stuff. You know, it could be a little monotonous sometimes when it was just like, okay, can we just get to the next screen, please? But it's still just really fun to look back on DVD menus like this, that they just went that extra mile to be like, whoa, look at this cool stuff we can do with this really cool new optical digital format. Yo. But anywho, on the bonus features disc, you've got two different sections in here. One talks about the movie, of course, which is Goblin's Lair, but then the other one is actually all about Spider-Man from the comic books, talking about the history of the character, and I think it's just really cool they went that extra mile to talk about the source material and the history of the character before the movie, as opposed to like doing a little 2-minute featurette in there. And something I think that really carbon dates this DVD release is the fact that it has tips and tricks for the tie-in video game from Activision, which is just a staple of the time period because, you know, back then every major movie got a video game, and you've got this narrator walking you through the first 3 levels of the game. He's got this really rad, like, late 90s, early 2000s vibe, like, yo, swing through the city, collect power-ups, and avenge Uncle Ben's death, bitch! Although the one thing I find kind of ironic about that little walkthrough is that it's through the first 3 levels of the game, which I don't know if you've ever played this game before, but the first 3 levels are not the ones you need the walkthroughs of. Those of you who've experienced this game know there's a very particular level that makes you go through Oscorp. That level could suck a butt for all I care. And another staple of the time period is you could put the DVD into your computer and act as a DVD-ROM where you can get some sort of fun web content and some digital comics and things like that, which we would talk about, but unfortunately, my computer does not have a disk drive, so we're just gonna have to use our imaginations on that one. And then we go into the Goblin's Lair section, which is all about the movie. And one thing I really like about this is that it's got a couple different making of featurettes, but they're not specifically made for the DVD. They're actually HBO and E! Entertainment specials. And I think that's just really neat how they had these TV specials that would have aired like, you know, a week or 2 before the movie came out, but then they went and put them on the DVD as well. And on the E! Entertainment special one, they have these like little polls going through it talking about like which superhero is the coolest and which villain's the coolest. And this is before comic book movies took off ridiculously. You know, there were only a small handful of them at the time that, you know, could actually talk about, so they were comparing stuff like Batman, Wolverine, you know, basic stuff, and then they throw Spawn in there as well, talking about, like, Clown, the villain from the movie. It's like, wow. 2002 was a really strange time for comic book movies, and those two making of specials comprise almost an hour worth of bonus content there alone, and then you've got some director profiles, composer profiles, you know, talking about the filmmakers behind the project, you know, stuff we still get nowadays, but this goes way more in depth into it. And then you got screen tests with Tobey Maguire and J.K. Simmons, and includes music videos for songs made for the movie like Hero by Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott, which I believe predates Nickelback, which just really takes you back when you think about that. So the idea here wasn't to go completely in-depth with every last single piece of bonus content on this DVD, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what it's like to watch this and come back to it 18 years later, and really this is just a solid trip down memory lane, back when DVDs all had really great bonus content on it, you know, not just 30 to 60 minutes worth of little crappy featurettes here and there, but, you know, a few hours worth of stuff. It's not just your typical, we made a movie and we wrote it and then we cast actors, blah blah blue. And overall, this is what I like to see with bonus content on DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, whatever. It's kind of why my standards are fairly high when it comes to newer Blu-ray reviews, because, well, growing up, we were all spoiled with stuff like this, so, yeah, but as you can see here in my background, I've got a few other copies of the movie, like I got a Blu-ray, and I've got the 4K back there, which they all have the same bonus content on them, so basically just, you know, better picture quality every time. So I hope you guys enjoy this little trip down memory lane with me. If you want to see some more videos of this variety, then check out this playlist right over here, and if you want to see some other videos that YouTube is going to recommend to you, then again, check that one out. And of course, subscribe if you haven't, and well, we'll see you on the Brockopp side.